Studio.
Good to be back.
One of the things you and I were talking about during the break, and I think we've got to mention this also, Obamacare was found to be constitutional by the Supreme Court. Justice Roberts gave the final coup de grace by saying, sure, it's a tax, and it was that same day, I believe, that the administration came out and said, but it's not a tax. So it is or it isn't, I'm not sure. But anyway, I mean, they're trying to have it both ways. They want to assure people it's not a tax, but again, it was found constitutional based on that alone. Now, if this thing goes ahead, if it's not repealed, if we do not have a Republican Congress and a Republican president, and it goes forward, it's going to impact various aspects of our life. I know you were concerned about it, and your opponent, John O'Segura, has been vague. I'm not sure if I support it. I could, maybe, but I don't really. And I'll get back to you, and I'll drop you a line. And he's not sure. On the other hand, you and I were talking about the fact that Papa John's Pizza has talked about the fact that they're going to be raising pizza by 14 cents a pizza. Now, that's not a lot of money, one pizza going up 14 cents. But if you figure every company, whether it's a service or a product in the United States, is going to have to raise their costs, all of a sudden we're going to have a huge inflationary spiral.
Sure. Look, I talked to a company that's here locally. A small restaurant chain. They currently have 5 outlets. Even in this down economy, they are in the process of building and opening a 6th, which should open in the next couple of months. So all total, he's going to have 250 employees when they open up the next outlet. And if they don't provide health insurance that meets the government's requirement, you can offer it, but if it's not good enough, if it doesn't meet the government's requirements, and then those individuals decide to go into the health exchanges, that company will be fined, and they'll be fined up to $2,000 per person. So figure that out. 250 employees, $2,000 per person. That's $500,000 a year coming right off the top of that company's books. Restaurants, small margin, 2 to 3% margin. He certainly would not have been able to open up another outlet and employ another 50 to 60 people had this law been in effect today. So this will have a very chilling effect, I believe, on small businesses who want to grow and put more people back to work.
And you're not even talking about the fact that's in addition to the fact that you're going to have these businesses having to raise their costs. You're right. So sure. You have other costs you're talking about in terms of employees, and now you're going to have to raise the cost of the goods or the
sure.
products or the services.
You've got to meet the requirements of the healthcare law that specifies your policy has to check certain boxes. That may not be what you offer today. So you may offer insurance, but it may not meet the government's requirements. So you're going to have to change your policies, and that's going to mean increased cost to the business owner. And we all know that means an increased cost as a pass-through to the consumer. So that means all of us will be paying more for the goods and services that we receive from small, medium, and large businesses if they've got to change the type of health insurance that they provide due to the law.
I've had various Democrats on my show here on both KDWN and I in Vegas, and they all walk away going, wow, you were very fair. And, of course, that's my intent to be that way. When someone comes on, I try to be fair and balanced with them while I'm interviewing them. When someone won't come on, Republican or Democrat, I have a tendency to go after them and almost vilify them. And I absolutely do admit that. And I bring that up because I've made an effort. I made a concerted effort, I never told you this, but to try to get your opponent, John O'Segura, on several times. I talked to people, and they never would get back to me. They would never let him on my show. Other shows, but not mine. So at this point, I don't feel an obligation to be fair about it or try to be kind to him. And here's the guy who's criticized you about we have a foreclosure problem in the state. We've got other types of problems, Medicare and everything like that. And yet when he was asked on one interview show about what his views were on this, he had no specifics. He had no idea. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He does not know what he's talking about, and yet he's criticizing you. You have come up with specifics, by the way, on the foreclosure crisis. And what about Medicare?
Well, certainly we've got to figure out a way to preserve and protect Medicare. We've got to, preserve it for future generations, but we have to protect it for the current retirees and near retirees that are counting on that program. And that's why we're starting the discussion now. Look, it's not the Republican Congress. It's not Joe Heck saying that Medicare is going to be insolvent in 2024. It is the trustees of the Center for Medicare Studies saying Medicare is going to be insolvent in 2024. So we can either continue to kick the can down the road and do nothing, and wait until we have a crisis, or we can start having a conversation about how do we preserve and protect the program, and that's what we've been trying to do.
Are we going to have to reduce some of the benefits for Medicare for those who are about to go on Medicare? We have a whole baby boom generation already going on to Medicare right now. A lot of my contemporaries are already there, and I'm just wondering, are we going to have to reduce some of those benefits?
Look, our plan has said if you're 55 or older, you will see absolutely no change to the Medicare program, absolutely none. The Medicare that you're on now will be the Medicare that you continue to have. If you're between 55 and 65, no changes to what you should expect when you reach Medicare age, because people have planned their lives thinking that this benefit is going to be there, so we have to make sure that it's there. If you're 54 or younger, we're going to have some structural changes to the program to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to participate when they hit 65. Mm-hmm. And so whether that means offering alternatives, one of the options will be that you can continue in conventional Medicare as it is now. So even if you're younger than 55, if you decide you want to take the Medicare program that there is now, you can have it. If, however, you want to go and purchase a Medicare policy that would be guaranteed issue, that will provide you better services, that better meets your needs, then we'll give you premium support. We'll allow you to go out and do that. And right now, there's Medicare Advantage program, provides much more comprehensive services, things like dental, vision, hearing aids, things that Medicare doesn't normally cover. We have over 200,000 seniors that have Medicare Advantage programs here that participate in Southern Nevada. The health care law tries to do away with Medicare Advantage. This is giving people control over deciding what plan works best for them. And that's the direction we think we should go.
I'm talking with Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman Joe Heck from the 3rd Congressional District here on Eye in Vegas and on News Talk 720 KDWN. If you want to join in here on KDWN, it's 257 KDWN 257-5396. We'll continue our discussion with Dr. Joe Heck. Get some of your calls also in a few moments right here on Eye in Vegas and on KDWN. Good to have you with us. I'm talking with Dr. Joe Heck. Congressman Heck is, of course, the congressman from the 3rd Congressional District. And I want to get to all of your calls. If you're listening on KDWN, if you're watching on Eye in Vegas, sit back and relax. Otherwise, if you're listening on News Talk 720, KDWN 257, KDWN 257-5396, and we'll have the congressman take some calls in a moment. I would tell you that your opponent, John Segura, has had various chances to say whether or not he would have supported Obamacare, asked in various ways. Would you or not? The fact that you did not support it is apparent to everyone. Would you have supported it, John Segura? And, of course, he said, well, I absolutely won't say. He would not come down. These were his various interviews that were done here in the Valley with him, and he just would not commit one way or the other. There are a lot of things he would not commit to on various key issues, and it just seems to me that, with all due respect, I think, Mr. Segura, you're out of your league, and he should not be running for this particular office. He should have stayed in some statewide office that he knew more about. Sometimes when people are involved in state offices, they don't quite get what's going on on a national basis. Congressman Joe Heck is here, and we'll take some of your calls at 257 KDWN 257-5396, and we'll start out with Dave. Dave, you're on the air with Congressman Joe Heck. Go right ahead.
Hi, Dr. Heck. I've met you a few times, and I believe you're the man, you're the one. And what I would like to see the Republican Party do, though, is come on a lot stronger against Obama. He lies constantly and has lied ever since he's been in office, and they don't come on that strong, about Obama. And he's obviously a communist. I've studied communism, so I know a little bit about it.
All right. All right, listen, I appreciate your call, and I'll let you take your response on the air. I'll let you respond to that, but, to piggyback with what he said, there are a lot of people who are critical that the Romney camp is not yet come out forcefully enough. Romney himself is not as forceful. And this is one of the areas that I'm thankful for PACs. And while I know on both sides they say a lot of things, and on the other side they're very, very rough on Romney, I also know that PACs on our side are very rough on Obama as well. And so, to that end, I say hooray for PACs, given the lack of that kind of fight that I see coming out of the Republican Party.
Well, first, Dave, thanks for your call and thanks for your support. And I think, what you see is that we try to play on offense. We want people to understand what the difference is between us and the vision that the current administration has for this nation. And so by being on offense and talking about the issues that are important, we're talking about the issues that matter to people, jobs, the economy, and you've got the other side talking about issues that try to divide and distract us from the true problem that this nation is facing. And so by trying to stay on offense, and we talk in a positive sense about the issues that are most important to people, the Republican Party has never really been known for coming out and slinging mud like the Democrats have. Because we try to take the higher road and talk to people about the issues that are most important to them and get them to see that there is a very clear decision, a very clear choice that needs to be made come November, and that is we have a fork in the road and two different paths we can take, a path to the left down the same failed policies of this administration, or a path to the right that will put us back on a path to prosperity and get the economy started and people back to work.
But I'm going to make an argument right now, and that is that people are distracted and their attention is swayed by train wrecks and by reality TV. When you see people living in the same house and all the stuff going on and all the conjugating that's going on between everybody, people are distracted by that, and I think that the Democrats, while they do hit hard and they do hit below the belt, and Republicans try to act like we're better than they are. I think that there are people who are swayed by that hitting below the belt, by that coming out and acting like animals, like they are. I think people are swayed by that.
But that's their tactic. It's to try to get us off message by throwing these things out there to getting you to respond to what they're saying. And the point is, you've got to stay on the message that's most important to the people. And right now, that's the pocketbook issues that everybody is facing.
Well, I think that it's okay. Obviously, the Republican Party is not going to do it, but obviously PACs and those affiliated with the Republican Party in one way or another are doing it. Wayne Allen Root, a former vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, came out recently with a piece questioning how was it that Barack Obama got admitted to Columbia, Harvard, and everything else, and was able to pay for all of this if he was a poor guy, unless he did it by some kind of scholarship. And with Obama's records being closed, Wayne Allen Root is suggesting that he actually was given a scholarship as a foreign exchange student. Now, is that true or not? But he made that charge, and unless Obama opens up his college records, then we won't know the difference. I mean, I know Harry Reid has his charges, but Wayne Allen Root came right back with his charge as well. And I'm glad that he's doing that, because that's what I'm talking about to you. That kind of energy has to be put out by our side. I know we're good guys and we like to think of ourselves above the fray, but you know what? They're scrappers. The other side are scrappers, and Clinton's a scrapper. Obama's a scrapper. Chicago, he is, and we've got to be able to get in and fight with them. I mean, I know you don't like that. You're a nice guy, but, I can say this kind of stuff, and I believe it.
Well, again, I think it's important that the message that people need to hear is what is the vision for the future of this country, for their children and their grandchildren. And so while there are going to be a lot of accusations that'll be flung about whether it's at Mitt Romney, whether it's at myself during this election season, we need to make sure that voters understand, again, that there is a clear choice coming in November, and we can continue down this path of failed economic policies, or we can go down a path that'll get people back to work and get our economy back on track.
All right. Ray, you're on the air with Dr. Joe Heck. Good morning, and go right ahead. Real quickly, your question.
Is that me?
Yes, it is you. Okay.
My question is this. What's Congress's intent to reform the tax situation? I paid a higher percentage in taxes than most of those guys did. There are so many loopholes that, people on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, are just about fed up with. Every time you turn around, Congress seems to exempt themselves from something else, yet we have to bear the burden.
Well, Ray, I appreciate the question. And actually, before this August district work period began 2 weeks ago, we actually passed a bill through the House that would provide for what's called an expedited process to actually reform the tax code. And the position we've come from is that you've got to lower the tax rates, broaden the base, and get rid of all those special interest loopholes, subsidies, and deductions. And so we want to start from a clean slate and say, look, there are no loopholes, deductions, there's no subsidies, and then you build them back in. And then everybody's going to have to come back in. There's some that people always say are necessary, like mortgage interest deduction on a first home, charitable giving. But there are so many special interest loopholes that have to be closed. And that's the process that we want to do in the 113th Congress after January. Certainly it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to do any tax reform during the rest of this year. But we did pass the bill to provide expedited consideration for reforming the tax code, and it's doing just that, broadening the base, lowering the rates, and getting rid of those special interest deductions, loopholes, and subsidies.
All right, very, very little time. David, you've got the last question quickly to Dr. Joe Heck.
Good morning, gentlemen. Dave Phillips here. Alan?
Dave, be very quick, Dave. We've got very little time.
Joe, we're very impressed, many of us, with your having read and fully understand the implications of this health care bill. And keep putting it out there, the realities that we're facing. You have a lot of our votes, and we're all very afraid of the possibility of Obama getting reelected. Good day, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate your kind words.
And I think there is a concern about people that Obama will get reelected. But as I've said to you off the air, and I believe it, let Obama run by a couple of points ahead until October, like Reagan did when he was behind Carter for a couple of points, and then let the ship turn around sometime in October. Hopefully the beginning of October, so it would stay that way until the election. You've been listening to Dr. Joe Heck, Congressman Heck from the 3rd Congressional District, in the studio here at, of course, KDWN, also here on Ian Vegas and Vegas TV. It's been good having you here. I appreciate you stopping by. And you know what? I know we're going to do it again next week.
We will be back next week, 8 a.m.
So if you don't didn't have the opportunity to get on the air with Congressman Heck today, you'll have the opportunity next week. That we can guarantee you. Thank you for stopping by. Always good having you in. Congressman Joe Heck joining us on Ian Vegas and on KDWN. I'm Alan Stock.